Well, it's here. This is the item I was talking about in the last video that is not camera related, but it is hunting related, and it's a way that you can save money and also save yourself a lot of time and a lot of effort, and then you don't have to sweat as much too, if that makes sense. This is an e-bike, and it's not a Quiet Cat or a Rambo or any of those $5,000 to $10,000 bikes. I'll tell you how much it costs, but first we're gonna unbox this thing and get it put together. So the cost of this e-bike is $1,699. That is shipped, and that is including all tax and everything. It's the Be Cool Adventurer. So there are a ton of e-bike brands out there. I mean, I just looked at tons of them and did all kinds of research, and honestly, a lot of them are all super similar. The reason I went with this bike specifically was because out of all the reviews of all the bikes, this was the one that just kept coming back to people being like, this one is a step above from all the other ones that are all about the same price margin and everything. And so I just decided, you know what, this was the one I was going to go for. So the couple things that I'll say about it is the build quality is really good. It's super solid. All the welds are really good on it. The tires are really good. The brakes are good, but they're kind of squeaky at the moment, so that's something I'm going to have to mess with. I noticed that there's a couple things you can do to adjust the pads, and you can also replace the pads if you decide you don't like them. The bike has a Shimano 7-speed gear on it, so you have 7 different gears, just like a mountain bike would. It's got the big fat tires on it. It's got a great motor. The motor's been solid. You don't even have to pedal if you don't want to. I mean, you can just to do that to make the battery last, but if you're doing what I'm going to be doing with it, where I'm just going basically to and from my hunting stands, I could literally not pedal at all, and I wouldn't even be close to draining the battery. Me and Ted rode this thing. I think I had 17 miles on it. I charged it once before I went out, and I put 17 miles on it, and I haven't even used a quarter of the battery yet. And that's mostly on just using the throttle. So you have the pedal assist option, so if you pedal along with it, you don't use as much battery. So that's a sweet option to be able to save the battery. It's not like you have to pedal hard, it's just you pedaling with it. And so that way you don't have to drain the battery as fast, but honestly you could literally just do straight throttle mode and not have a single issue unless you're planning on going for super long rides or going up some really heavy hills. Otherwise, if you're on mostly flat terrain for the most part, throttle all the way. I got up to like 25 to 27 miles an hour, and I could have gone faster, but honestly, it was kind of scary to go that fast, especially with that helmet, which I know, you know, helmet safety. But I just didn't feel the need to go any faster. I don't need to go that fast to my stands. I was going just across fields, you know, cut ag fields, no issue at all. The tires just truck over everything. I was going in weeds up to like probably 3-4 feet tall. I was just going along some of the fields in the weeds in just throttle mode with no pedaling, and it never slowed down and never had issues. I'd go over any bumps, go over any sticks, didn't have problems with it. One of the only issues I had was I ended up running over like some little like thorn, I can't remember what they call them. They're like these little like burr type things. They're not like the actual burrs that you normally see, where they have like a little thorn in them. Ended up puncturing the tires. They are tube tires, so they ended up going flat. It was just a slow leak, but I was able to fix that by just getting onto one of the pages on Facebook. There's a Be Cool bike owners group, and so I just got on there, and there's tons of helpful people, tons of people that do all kinds of upgrades to the bikes. So they have a lot of good information. So what I did was I ended up finding out about this product called Flat Out. So it's like some sort of like weird additive that's got like Kevlar and stuff in it, and you put it in the bike tires. So you deflate the tires, you put this stuff in it, and it's a liquid that stays in there. And then anytime there's a puncture or a cut in the tire like that, the liquid fills the cut or the puncture, it fills it and seals it, and then you have no issues. So ever since I did that, I've had no flat tires or no problems at all. It's super awesome. It was like 15 bucks at Menards, so super simple fix. Don't have to worry about my tires at all now anymore. So that was one of the best things I did do with it. The light's nice and super bright on it. It's got the digital readout, so you can see how fast you're going. You can see how many miles you've gone. You can see how charged your battery is. A lot of different features. There's like cruise control, which is kind of funny to think about. Like you can just set the speed. Once you get to a speed, you can hold the button down and it all of a sudden just goes into cruise control and stays at that speed. It weighs about 78 pounds, which is pretty heavy. I would highly recommend either getting a bike rack for the back of your vehicle or taking the front tire off when you're going to load it, because when me and Teddy loaded it with both tires on, it was a pain in the ass. So I would definitely get a bike rack. I'm planning on getting one. I heard Harbor Freight makes a really good bike rack for like motorcycles and dirt bikes and stuff, and it's actually really cheap. And I've seen other people on the same Be Cool Facebook page that use the same thing for their e-bikes, and it works super well. So I'm probably going to get one of those because hauling it back and forth would be a lot easier with that. I don't have to throw it in the back of the truck, take up a bunch of room, and it would be nice to just be able to just put it on the back and not to deal with it. The battery on the bike, I believe, if I remember correctly, it's a 48 volt, 20 amp hour battery. I think it's a Samsung or something like that. It's pretty heavy, but super solid. The bike has full suspension through it, so it's got the front suspension, and then it's also got the rear suspension for the back of it. And I was going over all kinds of different bumps and different terrains, going across fields, going along field edges, and it, like, yeah, you feel bumps and stuff, but it never was like to the point where it felt like it was gonna like throw me off or like that. It was pretty smooth actually. So the bike suspension is really good. It has a rear rack that you can mount on the back of the bike. I haven't mounted it on yet, but I plan to. Holds up to 60 pounds. So I plan on throwing on climbing sticks or a stand. You can just strap it to it. So if you're going to a new spot and you want to be able to take stuff with you instead of having to strap it to a pack, you can just throw it right on there and you're good to go. You look at the Baku, the Quiet Cat, the Rambo, they're all super high dollar bikes. I mean, you're looking at like their entry models like $3,500 or something like that, all the way up to like 10 grand. This bike is $16.99, and it's gonna do anything and everything that those bikes do with no issue at all. I don't know what the difference would be. I know that there's different types of motors that you can get for these types of bikes, but this thing will do more than you will ever need unless you're doing some crazy like high terrain, long distance like type of stuff. Otherwise, there's no reason you would need a bike that's gonna do anything more, honestly. And I would definitely recommend this over a high dollar one unless you're going into something super high dollar, like something like the, I think John Dudley rides one. It's the Vulcan bikes or something like that, I think that might be right. And those ones are more of like an e-motorcycle. They don't actually have like pedals or anything like that. They're just like a straight motorcycle type style, which are super cool too. But now you're looking in the 4,000 at the cheapest to like 10,000 or something like that. I don't remember what the prices are. But if you're looking for just a good e-bike to go to and from your stand, you get in there nice and quiet, and you get in there without sweating a whole bunch. That's one of the main things I got tired of. The walk to my stand was either about half a mile to 3/4 of a mile, sometimes a mile. So not only does that take a lot of time, but by the time you get there, when you're wearing and carrying all your gear, you're all sweaty by the time you get there. And then you sit down in your stand, your sweat freezes, and then all of a sudden you get cold. Especially when you hunt in weather where it's really cold weather, and then that sucks. So now I'm gonna be able to get there way faster, not gonna be sweating at all. I'm gonna be nice and comfortable when I get there, and also know that I don't have a super long walk out when I get back out. Yeah, I know we should probably just like not care about the walking because you know you gotta put in the effort, and it is effort. But at the same time, if I have the ability to make my life a lot simpler, do things a lot faster, it's gonna give me more time to either hunt longer or even maybe get more footage doing other things and go areas that I wouldn't normally go. It's well worth it to me. Highly recommend it to anybody if you're looking for a good budget e-bike to get into. And when I say budget, I mean, you look at the Quiet Cats, the Rambos, and the Bakus, this thing is less than half the price. That's a substantial savings. You're not spending a $3,500 and up on a bike. You're spending $16.99. That's it, you're in, you got it all. If you got any questions or comments, leave them down below. I'd gladly answer anything you have about it. The bike took about 6 or 7 days to get from when I ordered it. It came from Canada, which I think they're a Canadian company, but whatever. It's a great bike, highly recommend it. And if you're looking for something to get to and from your stand or to go do scouting with, Be Cool Adventurer is probably going to be the bike for you. At least it's the bike for me. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe, throw me a comment. We'll see you next time.